nervous energy comes along with being on the speaking stage, and we tend to deal with this energy by using multiple crutches. Some people do the hands in the pocket. No matter how long they're talking for, at least one hand has to be in the pocket the entire time. Some fumble with a pen. Some even walk hopelessly all over the place. But for those who like to stay put, the Lectern becomes your best friend, and not in a good way. You see, the Lectern can be looked at as one of the most obvious crutches, and so many speakers resort to standing in that one spot throughout the entirety of their talk. When you're preparing to give a keynote, you may be given the option to use a Lectern. For the majority out there, I would advise you not to use a Lectern. Yes, the Lectern is practically a household item when giving a speech. Politicians use them all the time and read their speeches from them. Your pastor will preach their sermon from them. If you're at a big university, there's a high likelihood that your teacher will give his or her lecture primarily from the Lectern. So that sounds really exciting, right? But you aren't any of those people. You're a dynamic speaker and you don't need a Lectern. When you're speaking to any audience, you want to be conscious of any potential barriers between you and your audience. In a sense, the stage is a physical barrier, but that's something that all parties will be used to. That's what you usually expect when you come to hear a keynote. The Lectern is more of an optional barrier. It's there, but it doesn't have to be. Not only would you standing behind a lectern for 45 minutes be an obvious physical barrier, but it can also present a psychological barrier as well. You can be looked at as lacking confidence, which over time turns people off. You can be looked at as a person who's hiding something. Plus, you must also look at the fact that you'll have floor space to use, which is a huge benefit for any speaker attempting to connect with their audience. Stepping out from the lectern and using floor space also allows blood to continuously flow, which will help you maintain constant energy, all of which you will need in order to constantly articulate your message, all of which would be best achieved without the lectern. The most memorable speakers have the fewest amount of barriers possible between themselves and their audience. When you see them in action, they feel like they're up close and personal, no matter how far back you may be seated from the stage. Unless they have some sort of prop that serves as a visual aid while delivering their content, it's literally just that one person on the stage. You can be memorable if you stand behind a lectern, but it's twice as hard. You can have impact, but why take on the unnecessary challenge when you can easily move around? And then there's also the whole issue of talking with your audience instead of talking at your audience. Most people relate the lectern to authority, not necessarily someone shouting out demands, but they can easily see the distinction from themselves in that moment. Are you aiming to be looked at as an authoritative figure, or do you want the people to feel like you're relatable, even in energy? All of this is dramatic, I know, but a lot of these thoughts linger around in some people's minds, and you have to figure out the best approach in the moment. To sum this topic up, you must do more than show up and give your talk. Move around and be engaging. Your audience will want to feel a connection to you. The closer you can get to them, the sooner you will see that one by one, each person will feel like you're making a connection specifically to them. And although you're talking to multiple people at one time, you want to be able to make those one-on-one connections throughout your audience, even if it's only for a couple of seconds. Also, breaking free from the lectern goes hand in hand with another one of my tips that I've given out earlier, which is you have to know what you're talking about. If you're dependent upon your notes, then you'll need that podium or lectern or whatever you choose to call it. Without it, you will collapse literally. And I always say, be strategic in each decision you make when moving around the stage. Sometimes you need to get closer to your audience when you're telling a crucial point, and then other times you need to back away and give them some space. No matter the case, venture around, because the majority of the time you'll see that you'll get a lot more accomplished. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard, and this tip was brought to you by the J. Leonard Group.